Welcome, everyone. This is Versus on a Monday, and today we're talking about a film that is in the top 5 box office at theaters. The highest grossing documentary this year, Am I Racist? By Matt Walsh. We are all going to discuss it with a very diverse panel, oddly enough. So stick around, watch the show, enjoy it, and here we go. Hey, there are more people showing up. I got more people. Here he is. Epic Mike is here. We've also got the DA and Derek Anderson and Robert Meyer Burnett joining us very soon. So there you go. Let's for those that are here, let's sound off. Let's go.
Thank you, Angry Badger. If you haven't seen me on one of my appearances with Chris on Open Bar, then hey, hopefully you're happy to see today again, where we're talking about a show I couldn't see because it wasn't playing near me, or movie, you know.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Epic Mike. I'm glad to be here. I too have not seen the film, mostly because I am racist and I didn't need the question answered for me. But I am interested to talk about it. There's a lot of clips online about it and a lot of discourse. And surprisingly enough, I have a little bit of experience on this topic. So, yeah.
What's happening, guys? Dante from Verbal Riot and VRL, and I'm ready to talk about the racism.
I'm Alan, editor-in-chief of Film Threat, and I love everybody.
Liar.
I hate all of you. I hate all of this. Every single
First of all, for those of us that have seen it, and I know Derek is going to be here. He has seen it. We saw it with him. Get your impressions. Dante, you were on the show on Friday. Give us your thoughts. And you did a review that is blowing up, I notice, on your channel.
21,000 views in 2 days, man. It's pretty wild.
That's insane. So give us your perspective now that not only did you see the film and critically praised it, but also it is a huge financial hit. We'll get to that in a second. But any further thoughts upon reflection?
I mean, as far as the movie goes, I said a lot already, but I will say that I guess I shouldn't be surprised by the lack of coverage that this movie's getting. It's really sad to me, man. I feel like, being in this critic space, like your job is to review movies. Your job is to go in there, be unbiased, and review these movies. And these critics who are holding their nose up and taking this moral stance that they're not going to review Matt Walsh's movie, to me, is kind of sickening. But it just goes to show what's happened to Hollywood, right? Because by all means, every critic should be watching this film and giving a review about it. And the question is, why aren't they?
I agree. We will get to that too, because it's on 1,500 screens. It is expanding this week. We got word. We know someone who is in the industry who reaches out and gives us little tips and details, and says they're expanding theaters. Hey, joining us too, right here, Derek Anderson, the DA.
What's up, fellas? Derek. How's everybody doing?
What's up, bro?
I'm good. We're just getting first impressions of what people thought, and we have Paul Chato joining us. He's on the road. I'll see. He's got bad reception.
He's definitely racist. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. We'll get to Paul when you get your camera sorted. We'll get to you. But Derek, would you give us your brief thoughts on the film?
Oh, I thought it's the funniest thing I've seen so far this year. It's absolutely hilarious, and it exposes kind of this grifter culture and industry that is suddenly propped up. Maybe not suddenly propped up. We've always had race hustlers that have been, hustling the game, trying to grift off of people's, victimhood, feelings of victimhood or white guilt or whatever. So it's wonderful to see Matt Walsh just walk into these people's arena, and just ask simple questions that makes us all kind of laugh. Like, do you realize how ridiculous this sounds? And I don't know if you guys got to it, but me and Dante, we were kind of chopping it up afterwards. And we were like, this thing is like legitimately a crazy money-making industry. How much money Matt Walsh had to pay these people to just come in and talk to him. And these guys are all making money off of, victimization, hurt feelings, whatever you want to call it. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I was blown away, but, we all kind of knew it, but it's just amazing when you see it just get exposed in this kind of straightforward manner. And then just how ridiculous all of it is. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I laughed the entire film. I've seen this movie twice. Both times I laughed hysterically because the first time you don't know what jokes are coming, but then even when you do know the jokes are coming, it's still hilarious when you see, and then I saw it with a bigger audience than the one that we initially saw it with. I saw it with a pretty sizable crowd, and everybody's just laughing. Everybody's having a great time with this film. So yeah, I think it's a 9 out of 10 for me. One of the better, films I've seen so far this year. Absolutely had a blast.
I feel like my biggest takeaway from this movie was that racism is a big business.
Yeah,
it is a big business. There are industries created just for racism. And I'm sitting here and I told you, Derek, like I felt like a chump. What am I doing trying to make an honest living when I could be out there race hustling, making a nice bag, buying nice things, right? Like, how come I'm out here trying to work like an honest chump when people are out here race hustling and making the bag?
You have a soul. That's why. This is the same thing if you watch his What is a Woman, that there's a whole industry grifting off the bad type of grifting. And I just want to say it's because my co-host did see it, Nerd Wars. He's in the middle of the country. He said everyone was laughing. I guess we forget that even though if you're on the left or right coast or like super keyed into online, a lot of people don't hear all this DEI talk, and like we're a little bit desensitized. So when everyday people get told plainly what these people actually think, like Alan counting as a white man, counting because he's Asian, like you count as me in the DEI checkboxes. Sorry. So when you tell an ordinary person that, they have the reactions we're seeing. It's just like, what? And yet somehow it's a whole industry and they get paid to do this.
It's ridiculous, man. And what's crazy is in the film, the most normal people, when he goes down south, when he goes to the biker bar and he's trying to talk to these guys at the biker bar about, how do you feel about decentering your whiteness or whatever? And these people are like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, these guys are floored at how ridiculous this nonsense is. It's like, what is this? And the black Guyanese, I guess he was a car repair guy or something, at the garage. He's just like, nah, just treat people like they're regular people, if I cut you, you're going to bleed the same blood I bleed. So, I'm not worried about any of that nonsense. And that's what the rest of the world feels like. And then you got these DEI grifters that are making, I don't know how much money Robin DiAngelo has made in her career off of her book, whatever.
It was a best-selling book. So, it probably made a good chunk of money.
It's
speaking fees.
How much money these people are make, man.
I'm just saying, some people.
She ran down like all of the companies that she worked for. She worked with Google and I think Nike and like all these major companies, and she's probably charging these people $1 just to get out there and spit hatred and, you got to look at yourself as some sort of a victim, or you got to look at yourself as some sort of an oppressor or whatever that nonsense is. It was just absolutely ridiculous, but I'm so glad that he got her, man, because he made her look like an absolute chump. That was the best part of the movie to me, man.
I have a clip if you want to. I find interesting about the whole race scripting.
Yeah, we'll go into that, but Paul Chambers trying to join. Okay. He's on vacation in an RV. So, and Robert Burnett will be here. So,
down by the river.
We want to go through the box office first. Yeah. Alan, do you have the box office numbers you can put up?
Yeah.
This movie was number 4 at the box office. It has already made its money back.
Wow.
So it is 4.5 million gross first weekend. It outgrossed The Killer's Game with Dave Bautista in almost twice as many theaters. No, 1,100 more theaters.
Yeah, and those two came in 5th.
Really smart not to limit this to Daily Wire only.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And Reagan is still doing well. Wow, the gross is 23 million. Cumulative gross, it did really well.
Yeah.
2.9 million this weekend. Number 5, Emma Racist, 4.5 million. The highest grossing documentary at the box office this year, and maybe I can't think of a doc that's done well box office wise. Most docs are streaming, limited release, whatever.
Yeah,
It's pretty incredible.
Here's something interesting, but you look at the per screen average. Am I Racist? Almost 3,000. Speak No Evil, 3,500. They're only $500 off per screen.
Wow.
Mhm.
So
That's awesome.
what we heard from an insider that talks to us, it is expanding screens this weekend.
Yeah, what I was told was theaters were hesitant to put this movie out, and some didn't put the movies out. And when they saw the weekend box office, they're putting it out. So it'll be in more theaters this weekend.
Yeah, you got to sell that popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, is it coming to Long Beach? We need to know.
I'll be real interested to see my demographics, what they think of this mostly liberal. There's a lot of genders walking around. I'll just tell you that much. I'll be very interested to see what they all think of this.
Well,
at the perspective of the theater owner, 3,000 per theater, $20 a ticket per theater. That's a lot of people coming to see this movie.
Well, the other thing, we've talked about this before in a lot of different industries. The people that these companies are catering to are the crowd that doesn't have any money.
Right.
And so they're finally this is what we've talked about. Money talks, and you're gonna go, yeah, I'll put this in theaters, and the people that have money, that traditionally are hardworking people that have income and soluble income and stuff, are gonna go see this film now, and they go, oh, look at that, these guys are actually the ones spending the money here. Wow, that's kind of amazing, Yeah, I think that's kind of telling. So
I wonder, did you guys hear about the one theater that pulled the plug on the movie and
Yeah.
decided not to show it?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I wonder if that theater owner is regretting that decision, to bend the knee to the. I don't know who his.
That theater is in Sacramento, by the way.
Yeah.
So but California theater.
But I mean, come on, there's plenty of people in Sacramento, I'm sure, that would love to go and watch this movie. They probably just went to a different theater. It's okay, you don't want to show it? There's another theater around the corner, another AMC, because AMC doesn't have any problem showing it. I guarantee you there's a theater within walking distance or driving distance from that same location that said, yeah, we're showing this. And I bet that theater owner feels like a fool for canceling out a movie for a few people that are, kicking up some dust. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. I just laughed when I saw that.
Well, from what I heard, it was the employees that were raising a fuss. The people who worked there didn't want the movie shown.
Yeah, there was someone went on Reddit and found a forum full of theater employees, and a lot of them were talking about how they were making it difficult for people to buy tickets to see the movie.
Wow.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
That's my Fandango app called me a confirmed racist when I tried to buy a ticket.
But look, I mean, it shows you that a small movie like this can make some waves, can have enough of a reach. By the way, in deference to the subject matter, I have placed myself on the bottom of the stack, so I am not visible, covered by our banner here. I'll undo it for now. Also, I corrected the banner. There is a question mark at the end of the title of the movie, Alan. Just to let you know.
Thank you. Oh my God.
Yeah. But look,
we just spiked 1,000 viewers because of that.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
If I is quear, we'll keep going up. Everyone do a
But box office wise, that's impressive. Now, there's a cost to all of this. And what you touched on, Derek, or no, Dante, you touched on it. Why are critics so cowardly that they will not review this movie?
I'll tell you why, actually, because here's the thing. If they watch it, they will have to give it a good review. They know that. They don't want to do that. And that's why they're not reviewing the movie.
I don't think they're not under an obligation. I think if you're objective, it's a very entertaining movie. It's I love the fact that how did he book these people? he didn't trick them per se. He paid them to be in the movie. He paid Robin DiAngelo 15 grand for a 2-hour interview, and she signed off on it. And what he got is what he got.
99%, 500 plus. I know it's wonky, their ratings, but that's still shockingly high for this type of movie.
Now, when it comes to Rotten Tomatoes, if you can you go to the critics, Alan, on Rotten Tomatoes? It's a 99% verified hot for audience. There's over 1,000 audience reviews, and it's 99. That's high.
That's really high.
But in terms of critics reviews, it would be positive, but you need at least 5 reviews.
Well, it has
there's 5 reviews right there.
Critic score.
Yeah, 5.
You got
it
5.
Yeah,
well,
5.
I thought it was 5.
I know it is 5, but what's interesting is when it was 4, right here it would say 4 reviews, and now it's at 5. You can't even see how.
There's not even a link to the reviews.
Well,
so
you're right here. This is the link.
Now,
by design.
I have not seen this, but I am told Jeremy Jahns, who also reviewed the film, is getting harassed. Is this true?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They're going after him, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
I did a video on it earlier this morning. I did a video kind of going through Twitter, and everybody's coming after this guy. He's lost subscribers on his channel. And then everybody's just labeling him a racist simply for reviewing the movie. He's done
Chris
nothing
Stuckman
wrong.
Reviewed it?
No, of course not.
No,
Chris isn't gonna review it now. He or else he'll lose whatever handouts he's trying to get from Hollywood. So
yeah, Grace is not reviewing it.
Yeah, she's not reviewing it.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me either.
Yeah,
that's the thing. This has been.
They're
a thing
afraid of their
been
audience.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, but they're also afraid of the access that they might lose. And this is the thing that we've known about Jeremy. He doesn't really care about any of that stuff. And actually, recently, in the last couple of years, he's been somebody that's grown and become more vocal about his distaste for Star Wars. And he's talked about a lot of these shows that are out here that he doesn't enjoy, and he doesn't enjoy them for a lot of reasons. And he's gotten blowback from all of that, and people have tried to call him a hater and say that now he's a grifter and stuff like that. But I kind of got to give it to him for saying, hey man, this may not be my kind of movie, but like, he watched it, he reviewed it fairly, he said he enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was about to say, did anybody watch his review? Because I watched it, and I'm telling you, man, the guy was he was objective. He was objective.
He sounds like one of the last OGs that isn't compromised.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's one of the only people I actually one of the only people outside of like our group of like our circle that I actually watch the reviews from, because I actually feel like he gives great reviews. And he doesn't really care if he gets blowback. But yeah, he also reviewed Sound of Freedom, and he got blowback and hate for that too.
Of course he did.
I wonder if under the hashtag "Am I Racist" movie, what would the little like emoji be after that? what possibilities of a little emoji or graphic?
It'll be a picture of Matt Walsh with his man bun.
Yeah. So Rant Man says, a little appreciation post for Jeremy Jahns. Unlike most reviewers, Jeremy doesn't shy away from movies that would be labeled as controversial. He's honest and doesn't involve his own personal beliefs in his videos. What are you talking about? Personal beliefs? I feel like everyone brings biases. Everyone does.
Everyone should have personal beliefs. I mean, really.
Yes. Jeremy Jahns is the GOAT. And then it shows a little graphic of a review of Am I Racist and Sound of Freedom, films that we both reviewed. By the way, Film Threat gets no freaking love or appreciation. So I'm a little pissed off. And then even Matt Walsh, Matt Walsh from his Matt Walsh blog, most mainstream critics have ignored our film, but Jeremy Jahns had the guts to not only review it, but even praise it. His review also has over 300,000 views in less than a day. Maybe that will inspire other major critics to follow his lead. Hey, Matt, longtime supporter, reviewed your last movie. it's kind of BS, and we're not.
Yeah, like,
I guess,
what was it? My review on Rotten Tomatoes? Like,
Yeah.
You guys don't want to be part of the legacy mainstream. You're doing your own thing. You're far more reputable and authentic than anything they're doing, aside from the ones who've been grandfathered in, I guess, like John there. But yeah, you're right.
yes,
You're
but
underrated
Film
to them.
Threat also reviewed these movies on the website, and on the. All he could say is this: I've been doing this for next year will be 40 fucking years of doing Film Threat. It was a zine when I started in high school, just out of high school. I designed the logo, and it came out, and I get no respect at all.
We need Rodney clips and Fredo clips. I could do things. I'm
Even
smart.
Kongman, who I know and who has been on Versus. Jeremy Jahns is pissing off all the right people by reviewing Am I Racist? So I like him even more now. You don't like me, Kongman? Matt Walsh, again, he's doing hey, Matt Walsh and Jeremy, get a room. He's gay for Jeremy now, Matt. All this love. And he does not tweet
Gore.
out our video review or the review that you did, Alan, on the website. Look at this.
That's on Rotten Tomatoes right now.
Hey, everybody, shout out to Chris Gore, man. Respect to Chris Gore for getting the work in
Gore,
for 40 fucking years. Shout out to Chris Gore. Respect, brother. Respect. Thank you. Put some respect on his name.
I'm tweeting about it right now. Yeah, I can't get no respect.
I just do what I do. But
Got some respect on him.
Don't get respect. I'm not even going to follow Jeremy.
Yeah.
I noticed
That's wild.
Well, at 2 million subscribers, he doesn't need you to follow him.
Chris, you should follow him and then unfollow him.
Is that him on X?
Yeah, that's him on X.
All I'm saying is, like, it does kind of suck. Film Threat, like, does all this coverage, not just this movie. We are reviewing the upcoming Dinesh D'Souza documentary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We cover drag queen documentaries. Thank you, Nerd Far Away. Thank you. I appreciate it. And our Kitty 83. More normie and mainstream. Yeah, I'll take it.
I mean,
But
2 million subscribers, you know,
it does bug me a little here that so here's a thread about Jeremy.
My thing, man, is just this, man. I mean, if we're going back to the critic thing, I just feel like there needs to be some integrity here, right? Quit calling yourself a critic if you're gonna pull some shit like this, right? Like, review every movie. Don't take these weird stances because you don't like a certain person, man. Let the movie stand on its own.
Yeah, review bomb.
If the movie's bad, say it's bad. No, really. If it's bad, say it's bad. If it's good, say it's good. But do your damn job.
Yeah. And look, I don't expect every critic.
Epic Mike just now. Thank you, Mike.
I got you.
Hey, thanks, man. Yeah.
And look, I don't expect every critic to review every single movie that comes out, but so many people. But the fact that so many critics, it's like it's only 5. Are you kidding me? Only 5 people on Rotten Tomatoes, where any other movie would have had at least 50 by now. It's ridiculous, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. And these people should be ashamed to call themselves film critics. Somebody mentioned Stuckman earlier because he didn't review what was the movie that came out?
Madam Web.
Madam Web. Yeah, thank you, Mike. He didn't want to review Madam Web because
making movies is hard.
And it's like, hey, guess what? You know what? Sometimes you got to do it. If you're a film reviewer, sometimes you got to call balls and strikes. Hey, this was trash. This was great. This was not great. You just got to do that. That's your job. You know, so when you step away from that and you're going to kind of tailor the movies that you criticize, you know, in my opinion, I'm done with you. You know, I don't even trust your opinion because, you know, you're already, you know, editing the types of films that you want to review. It's trash, man.
Yeah. Well, I've said this a couple different times in different places, but the excuse that a lot of people use is, well, now I work in the industry or whatever, I've done stuff, and movies are very hard to make, and I don't want to discourage people. The reality is there is a level of hard work that goes into every movie you make. There's a level of hard work. If you're making a documentary, you know you need X amount of work to make a good documentary. If you're making a feature film, it's X amount of work to go, you know, if you're making an action movie, X amount of work has to go into it. nobody is disparaging the work that goes into making a film. It's the creative part of it, because it's art, and that's the point. Art is designed to be critiqued. It's designed to be criticized by people, and the reality is the part of the critiquing that happens is not, well, you know, the choreography wasn't great and stuff. That sometimes does happen, but there's a lot of things that you'll forgive behind the technical side of things if the story is actually good or you're entertained by the film and stuff. So that excuse that Chris used, the reality was he started working in the industry and he didn't want to say anything bad about people because he didn't want to lose access. And and if that's the case, then just say that, you know what, I don't want to ruffle the wrong feathers. I just want to make movies now. That's what I want to do. But he couldn't do that because he also was trying to make make reviews so that he can make more money to film his own movie that he's doing.
And what I tell our reviewers is, if you don't like a movie, that's fine. You don't like the movie, but be fair and be constructive.
Yes.
You know, by being constructive, you're just letting the filmmaker know this is where you fell short and this is where you could do better on your next film.
And I'm saying, let's be clear, there's a difference between people who review movies and an actual critic. I'm talking to the critics, right? Like, I used to be a critic. Now I'm just a guy who reviews movies, right? I don't call myself a critic. But if you're going to call yourself a critic, right, especially if you belong to the CCA and groups like that, then do your job, right? Do your job. Your job is to review these movies. Whether you like the person or not. And here's the thing, again, you don't have to like the movie. If you want to give it a bad review, give it a bad review, but review the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Alan and I are both in the CCA Critics Choice Associations, whatever. So I'm surprised we're still in it based on what we've done, which is, you know, I just feel, to me, it's very obvious. A media outlet should not be on any side of the political aisle. This is a thing that is more obvious now than ever because of what happened this weekend on a Sunday. People brushing off what happened to Trump, and then
golfing. What are we talking about? No, I know.
And then somehow, like, not like the media putting it on him, blaming the victim like it's his fault. Like it's so weird to see that. Like, the media needs to do what, report on the facts. This is what happened. You decide what to think. But
we're long past that, though.
They're long past that.
Yeah.
We can't have that
in the rearview mirror, man. Like, it's
George Carlin was doing bits on this in the 90s.
Mind numbing. It's mind numbing. And joining us also here, the great Robert Meyer Burnett.
Apologies for being late, fellows.
It's all good.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. You had a successful Kickstarter.
Yes, you know, I got to hand it to Nerdrotic, to Gary Beekler, for bringing me on to promote on the last 4 or 5 hours of the campaign. We took it up. We almost what did we get up? Almost 50% more than our goal. So that was great.
Awesome.
And it's still open.
Congrats, man.
I am a proud backer. Drop the link and we will share it, Rob.
Wait do you guys, all I can tell you is it's exceeded all of my expectations in terms of how it's turning out. I mean, it's because the script, yes, I'm shepherding it and I'm directing and producing it and editing it, but really it's the cast, and it is especially the script by Max.
So when is Katie coming on? You're bringing Katie Sackhoff on to talk to all of us, right?
Please. You know what? We are going to promote this. I think the first 2 episodes will be dropping during New York Comic-Con. Katie Sackhoff was an absolute delight. And, you know, she wanted to talk to me before we recorded to tell her about the character and what my vision of it was. But when she came on, I mean, you know, these actors are I have other actors reading with them, so it goes really fast. It's not one actor in a booth like in animation. So there's always an actor reading opposite them. And Katie, she had this crack in her voice. She breaks up with one of the main character in the story. Spoiler alert. And I like almost wept. And I'm just listening to her in a studio and she's just doing her voice acting. I was like, wow, this is amazing. So kudos to Katie Sackhoff, because, you know, I don't know if you guys have ever watched the show Longmire. Everyone knows her as Bo-Katan, and everyone knows her as Starbuck, but she was great in Longmire. And not a lot of people watch that show, but it's a great show.
A lot of seasons. It's on Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. And she's really good. I love her.
So we will share the link to Rob's campaign during the show.
Yeah,
we're talking, am I racist?
Yeah, I mean,
and Rob has not seen
are
it.
You?
Are you?
Well, I have not. I've not seen the show. I've not seen the movie, but I'm not against seeing it. But I'll tell you what I did watch. I watched Jeremy Jahns, I thought quite nuanced and fair review of the movie. And somebody on Twitter just started talking about I love Jeremy. You know, I think as a populist, he was a projectionist in a movie theater. As a populist critic, I think his delivery is great. I think it's fun to watch his short reviews. They give you a good overview. He's always been honest. He reviewed, like you guys did on Film Threat, the movie, and somebody just roasted him and was calling him a racist because he reviewed the movie. And then was talking about what a mediocre critic he was. And I'm a big fan of Jeremy's, and he's from the Pacific Northwest. And I was just like, I tweeted back, I said, or X back, I said, you know what? I'll bet you haven't seen the film, and I bet you didn't even watch his review. And you're out there. What are you fighting the good fight? Are you with your disingenuous takes? And you're just, you know, I'm so tired of everybody saying, okay, this group of people is this way, so everything they do is worthless. And we're doing that as Americans. I mean, don't you think that, you know, Chris, you've always been pretty fair. You and Alan have been fair on Film Threat. You've called it like it is. And when you're watching a movie, you've got to judge a film. You know, it might have come from the Daily Wire and Matt Walsh and all that, but it was like, is he doing anything different than Sacha Baron Cohen did? It's just that you might like someone else's politics more, but does that make the movie any less valid?
Well, even Matt Walsh pointed out some of the critiques of the film, like they're critiquing it because he made fun of all these academics and intellectuals and elites and the people doing these seminars. But in Borat, he makes fun of people on the right and blue collar people, just regular everyday people.
Just like South Park does.
Yes, it's like what Matt, I heard some interview he was talking about the people he talked to when he went into the South, to that biker bar, and he went to that small town and talked to people. He made it very clear he was the one that was going to look like an idiot when he talked to regular everyday people. He did not want to mock them, right? He wanted to basically play the DEI fool. Here's my DEI certification with his card. But
I think we could all do, right? We all know what what their beliefs are.
And by the way, I just want to point out the white people are at the bottom of the screen for this episode of the show. I placed us all on the bottom.
Well, very progressive of you, Chris. Very progressive of you.
Exactly.
Somebody said to me last night, I was talking about something, I don't know, probably something to do with Israel, but somebody said, you know, Rob, you're a white man. You're going to be okay, even though you're ignorant and stupid. And I'm just like, first of all, do you think that white people don't have problems? Like, what is, it's such a bizarre, you know, this was not going on 15 years ago.
Nope.
This kind, I know it's all as a result of social media by design, but it's getting to the point where I'm perfectly willing to have debates with people, but the unthinking nature of the blanket comments, it's become like everybody's becoming what they've beheld, you know, and it's really disconcerting to watch the discourse devolve. And these people believe that they're on the right side of history or they're crusaders, but the way they're doing things, I always say, don't let anyone who's oppressed, you can't become an oppressor. You know, you've got to figure out a way to move beyond all of that and do better. And I used to think of myself as a far left leaning liberal. I'm a classical liberal, but I have nothing to do with the left anymore. They've completely abandoned reason.
Well, and that's the thing, Rob. They resort to the methods of censorship and silence and cancelization or whatever in order to get, in order to win. They need to cancel you. They got to silence you. I don't want to hear from you. That's how, like, the guys that went after Nerdrotics, Geeks and Gamers and Ryan Kennel, trying to silence them for their Star Wars opinions. It's literally the exact same thing. We got to shut you up. We don't want to hear from you. We got to stick you in the corner. Shut up, be quiet, because they really don't have arguments.
And then play victim when it backfires.
Yeah, and then play victim when you call them out for it. Exactly. They don't have real arguments. Their only argument, like you just saw with Jeremy Jahns, is, oh, you reviewed the movie, you're a racist. It's like, wait, time out. When did I become a racist because I reviewed a movie?
It opened in theaters this
thing
weekend.
I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
And by the way, I want to clarify. I love Jeremy Jahns. Talked to him in person. Yeah. I was on, Rob, I think you and I were on shows with him.
Yeah.
When John Schnepp doing his show. So
yeah,
you know him. And my niece is a huge fan of Jeremy Jahns. He did a personal video message for her that I sent to her. It made her day. Of course, awesome. She doesn't want one from me. She's related to me. But she's what? Anyway,
he reached out to me once randomly and asked when some of the stuff was going down with Collider. He's like, "Boy, you're really getting a bad rap. Are you okay?" Yeah. Hey, randomly, just
hey,
drunk
3PO. Shout out to him. Congrats on 100K, drunk.
He's racist because he has a white butter dish.
Yeah, he's also my favorite black YouTuber.
Hey, Rob, to your point. Back to your point, Rob.
I was just saying that it's so interesting that people. I understand the impulse is to do the right thing. There's a lot of marginalized people that have never had a voice, and I think they should have a voice, but they shouldn't have a voice if that voice is going to turn into an oppressive, dangerous, pitchfork and torch wielding voice where you're going to go after people. The 20th century is replete with what far leftism does to civilization. It always ends in mass death, and it always ends in something that's really, really bad. And you see these people because they're one step away from doing that.
And they're
one step away.
Let's be clear. The movie is literally attacking those people. The movie is going after the far left in that way, right? The thing is, the thing that bugs the shit out of me is that these people really believe this stuff, man. They believe that black people wake up every morning thinking, how am I going to start my black journey today? Right? Like, they believe this stuff, right?
You mean you don't do that, Verbal?
I not today. I didn't. Last night I cut my finger when I was making dinner, and it was pretty bad. And I was thinking, I had to go to the hospital, and the last thing on my mind was, I wonder if I'm going to suffer microaggressions while I'm waiting for the doctor to come, right? But they believe that we think this way, right? Because let's be real here, left white women especially feel that they are the saviors of the world, man.
Yep. Sorry.
As they live in a country of colonized land and
that's why they're able to do that, because they have all the
infrastructure that was built by cis white males and all that.
They are protected within the system that was built for them, and now they feel like, hey, I can speak for everybody.
Yeah. One thing about the movie, there's that segment with the race to dinner, and we reviewed a film called Deconstructing Karen, which basically walks us through that dinner. And what I found interesting was it was for all white women. Can you imagine if a white man was to attend this dinner? The second thing is the entire movie is just a systematic beatdown on these white women. They came in fairly confident, feeling like that they were fairly open-minded and that they were themselves not racist and colorblind. And to see them at the start of the movie and at the end, just how they were just torn down and their wills were broken, and they come out at the end just feeling like they're the most racist people in the world.
Well, in all fairness, Alan, they paid for it. They paid for that dinner.
$2,500 to do that.
That's wild, man. You paid $2,500 to get told you're a racist. This is
money,
insane,
please.
Man.
See, Dante, not all of them believe it. Some of them know it's full of shit, right? They want that money.
Living? Like, I should be out there hustling.
Well, no, what I say
look,
some people are getting their reparations early. That's all.
I mean, you have, like you said, you have integrity, because if you sit back and really think about this, these are the kind of conversations that, you know, keep the narrative going, keep racism alive. They had that quote from Thomas Sowell, you know, in the film where, you know, racism is being kept alive on life support by all of these race hustlers, you know, because they keep wanting to spit victimhood into your face rather than saying, no, guess what? You have an opportunity to go and do whatever it is you need to do in your own personal life. But because we got, you know, because you can monetize racism, you know, you can monetize victimhood, you know, you got all of these ambulance chasers. Anytime something happens to a black person, oh my God, I got to run, like the Sesame Street, with that whole situation with that Sesame Place, that was absolute garbage and nonsense. But yet this woman made, how much did she make after this? $50,000 she made in this movie?
To sit down for an interview.
$50,000 because somebody didn't give her daughter a high five.
Oh,
it's the Rosita. It's the girl who.
The Rosita, yeah, thank you.
But
that's ridiculous. But see,
you know,
that's the problem.
I do think, though, that there's a lot of legitimacy in talking about race issues in this country. One of the things that Black soldiers who fought in World War II could not avail themselves of the GI Bill coming back from the war. The GI Bill allowed the middle class to be built by soldiers who fought in World War II, were able to buy houses, were able to provide for their families. Black soldiers were completely denied this. And this is something that is a pox on American history.
Yeah, and talk about in history class, right? Maybe not in our social and movies and TV shows and games. You know, there's a place and time was the thing, wasn't it?
But he brings up a good point. Like, the thing is, when I was growing up in the 90s and stuff, you know, you had shows like Family Matters, and you had shows you know, like Fresh Prince and stuff. You had, you know, even the Cosby Show, as controversial as that may be now, but, like, you know, you had positive black influences that did talk occasionally about race. They addressed, yo, listen, sometimes when you're driving home, you might get stopped by a cop because you're black. Like, that's just the reality of it. Sometimes you have to hold yourself to a higher standard because you have darker skin. There were things like that, like empowering conversations about, yo, if you're going to conduct yourself a certain way in the world, realize there are some biases and there are some harsh realities to the way things are, but that's okay because you can overcome it. Nowadays, it's, well, the whole world is out to get you and everything's bad and there's no hope for you. So you might as well just take this handout from these rich white women because they feel bad about it. And that's the thing, you know?
That's such a great point. That's because, like you just said, go back even to the 70s. You had a show like All in the Family, Archie Bunker, the most racist guy on TV. But then you had spin-off shows. You know, had like The Jeffersons, or you had something like Sanford and Son and Good Times and all these things. This narrative that they're pushing now, which social media has allowed to happen, isn't real. It's something like you just pointed out. We were having media representation for decades that delved into race. Even the Golden Girls talked about things like Judaism and anti-Semitism. I mean, you had we've been seeing this for decades, and all of a sudden in 2012, when smartphone technology filtered down to everybody, suddenly the world is burning and everybody's oppressed, and oh my God, kids are killing themselves over gender identity and all this. It's just the facts don't bear it out.
No.
Can I play this clip? Because I think it's
please, Alan.
Okay, so this is in promotion of Am I Racist? Matt Walsh is speaking to Ben Qualler from the Free Press, and I found this part of the interview most interesting.
I feel like this. I don't know. This is my theory, since of course you've asked. That
what is your theory?
My theory is that gay rights organizations won their battles, and yet still had a lot of funding. All of these people wanted to keep their jobs. It seemed like, well, we really have to focus on transgender equality, trans rights, because in reality, there are, you know, there's a very small population that actually experiences gender dysphoria. The definition of trans had to be expanded such that you have all of these other categories of people that are not in any way what we used to think about as transsexual or transgender, if you like.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that, and we also find that in the race world. That's something we kind of run into in Am I Racist? That it's a similar sort of thing, that the racial civil rights fight ended decades ago. I mean, black people have all the same legal rights in this country that white people do. Arguably have more when you factor in things like affirmative action. By all rights, that fight is over. Like, everyone has equal rights. And it doesn't mean that everyone, there are still problems in the Black community, obviously, that could be talked about, but it's not a question of rights. And yet you have these activist groups that can't take that answer because that means they have no reason to exist anymore. And as you said, all the funding and everything dries up. So you got to keep, looking for problems.
I also think that
Okay.
Basically.
Thoughts?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So it's you got to keep the organization. For the organization to survive, you have to continue to find problems and find
homelessness and poverty too. You can't fix that because there's a whole grifting thing about that, and you see how much money these people in cities make to take care of it.
That's like, so from my perspective, and that's a good point, because I was actually going to use that. I have a close friend of mine who works in the private sector trying to help homelessness, and they go in and they've walked into these programs that are run by predominantly like wealthy, like, white women mostly, that are going, we got to solve the homeless problem. So what do? We find a way to give them like little handouts or little things like this to help them. And they got to go through all this paperwork and all this. And they're like, yeah, but like, you're not actually solving the problem, because the reality is, if you're actually doing your job, you shouldn't have a job in 5 to 10 years, because you're actually solving the problem. You're actually going to be naturally downsizing. And that idea is like abhorrent to them. They're like, what do you mean? I won't be doing this anymore? Then what else do I do with myself? And that's the reality. Like, it's how can we keep these people as a victim that live off of the system that we've created, because we benefit the most from having that system. And if they benefit too much, then that actually causes a problem, because it destroys the infrastructure that we built. Instead of teaching like young homeless, like Black people, how to be responsible with money and how to own money and what it feels like to actually own something, it's about, well, let's build more projects so they can live on affordable housing that the government pays for, and how to make sure that they stay at a certain level of income, because if you don't, then you'll lose those benefits and stuff. It happens all the time, unfortunately, but it's true. If you have all the same rights, then what it comes down to is dealing with the social aspect of it, and that requires actual work in your own personal life, not work within the government or within a government system or another program. So,
well, you brought up Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell talks about that. I didn't know who Thomas Sowell was until I started seeing him pop up on YouTube, and I read some of his books. About the economics and what happened to the Black community after the application of welfare in 1960. And I didn't realize that there was, like, he's an economist. I didn't realize that there was so much hatred for him from more left-leaning people. And I was like, when I was reading his book, he was addressing the Black community, but I wasn't thinking, oh, this guy was talking about America. Yes. He was talking about our country, and he was talking about a group of people, Americans, and something that happened to a subset of Americans when the welfare state was popularized in 1960. And he had a lot of great points to make. I mean, it was like when Watchmen aired, HBO's Watchmen. No one remembered the destruction of Black Wall Street. When was the last time you ever heard that taught in school? And because that HBO show opened with the Black Wall Street massacre, I went back and read about that, and I didn't realize how affluent some of the Black community was back in the day after and a lot of that was destroyed by white people, I mean, but not destroyed, like literally destroyed, blown up, burned up, rapes, murders. I mean, it was horrible, and it was something that we don't talk about enough, and those are the issues we should go back and address and say, these are the things that are happening. You're talking about some magical systemic racism, the power of the force that's somewhere out there, which is not helpful.
I agree
there's
with
real things happening.
One thing,
but I also want to kind of state this, like, if they're so willing to help, right? And I'm talking about these white liberal women that do all the protests and these allies, if they're so willing to help, how about instead of like things like gender studies in elementary school or junior high school, how come not go into like Black communities, Black schools, teach kids about how to manage a credit card, how to manage a checkbook, how to do your taxes, how to start a business in school while they're young. Teach them entrepreneurship. Teach them these things while they're young, right? If you really want to help black people get ahead in life, right?
About
Starting
anyone.
young with that.
I never got taught
how
that.
how come we're talking about gender studies and things like that to 5-year-olds instead of how to save money?
Well,
Right?
look, check this. To Rob's point and also to yours, Dante. They talk about Black Wall Street. What they don't teach, they teach that it was destroyed, it was burned down. They don't teach that Black Wall Street was rebuilt. It was rebuilt like about a decade or so later. And you never hear that part of the discussion.
Nope.
All you hear is the racism and, oh, it was burned down to a crisp and, they destroyed all of these black businesses. The black people at that time rebuilt those businesses almost without government help. There's very little government help. And so teaching black people that, hey, you guys, we took an L, but guess what? We rebuilt and we were stronger than ever. Teaching self-reliance, self-responsibility, self-ownership. Teaching that to the black community would go a lot further if they did that. To your point, Dante, hey, teach us things that say, hey, we persevered, we overcame Black Wall Street. And guess what ultimately took Black Wall Street down? It was too much government interference. Too much government actually destroyed Black Wall Street. It would still be there probably right now, in my opinion. But that's the thing that they don't want to talk about. They want government reliance. They want us to, kind of rely on these large systems instead of relying on the individual person. And that's what really counts. If we got more of that going in the community, we would be just fine. We don't need handouts. We don't need, what's her name? Robin DiAngelo saying that there's white fragility that's destroying your community and hurting you particularly. We don't need this chick to say nothing on the behalf of black people. We got this. All we need is just everybody get out of our way, number one. And then number two, stop teaching me that I'm a victim. All right. Stop, knock all of that crap off, because that's the thing that's really hurting the community. Everybody in the community believes they're a victim. Victimhood is 1000% currency. We use it to try to get ahead. Oh, DEI, hey, you've been, mistreating me. Okay, so you need some DEI protocols. We need affirmative action. We need blah, blah, blah. Instead of just saying, no, all you need is yourself, your own independent work. All right, your human capital. Go out there and make it happen for yourself. Self-ownership is what we need. And we're not getting enough of that type of teaching in the community, and that's the major issue.
Amen. Preach.
And what DEI has done is basically created new industries for these college kids getting out of school, right? The ones who majored in gender studies, like basically studies that will never get them a real job. So they created a whole industry for them, which is DEI.
Yeah, like what do you do with a black studies degree?
Right.
Where are you going with that? Except to either teach more of that or to go and get a DEI, diversity chief at a major institution. And it's just nonsense, man. It's just nonsense. So yeah, they're keeping all of this stuff alive. They keep the racism going. That's in my opinion. They keep the racism going by promoting all of this crap. Instead of saying, you know what? We got the laws. The laws are in place. All right, cool. We should be good now. But that's not what they want to promote.
Just stop talking about it. I'm not going to call you DA black man. I'm just going to call you DEA. Don't call me Badger.
Morgan Freeman,
white,
right? Morgan
just
Freeman
call me
said that.
Badger. Yep, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
But it also takes off. We're taking the onus off personal responsibility. I remember when I was in school, when I went to elementary school, there was one day out of the year, we were given, we had to get money from our parents and a list of groceries to buy. And I'm from Seattle. We'd go down to the Pike Place Market and we all had to buy our groceries that our mother gave us. And the point of the exercise was to understand budgets and money and how much things cost, and you could comparatively shop. And I remember thinking, wow, I didn't understand any of this. And it gave me a whole new appreciation. Like my mom has to do this like every week when she goes to the grocery store. And it was something that I had no perspective on as a kid. And then we all liked taking a field trip, getting out of school. But there was something I marveled at the idea of it all. And, the first thing that left-wing thinking, or if you look at it as it's applied to governments and what happened in the 20th century with whatever revolution you want to talk about the Russian Revolution, you want to talk about the revolution in China, you want to talk about, Pol Pot. The first thing you do is you get rid of the idea of the individual, of individual excellence, individual achievement, and you want everybody to work as a group. Oh, let's get rid of, but it doesn't work. Human beings are not built that way. Eventually it goes up to a point and then it all falls apart. And I think that's a lot of the problem here.
By the way, Rob, there is a show on Netflix where it's a Japanese show, not an American show, where they send little Japanese children, I mean 2 or 3 years old,
Yeah.
to go and buy things at the store. And it's so cute. They get lost or they make mistakes and they don't help the little kids. Have you seen it, Alan? Have you seen that show?
It is the scariest show I've ever seen.
I'm on the edge of my seat in fear for those kids, and it's very cute. It's very cute. But I get you. When I graduated high school, I felt lost from the standpoint of you filled me with all this knowledge. How do I do my taxes? How do I do? I didn't get basic life skills. Now I learned it later. You know, I acquired those skills, but none of that was in school. I even took electives. I would have had a much higher GPA if I didn't take a typing class, which was because I wanted to learn to type. And we were graded based on speed. I got a C because I didn't type fast enough. Then I had a home ec class. Why? I want to learn to cook. I want to learn not to sew a button on a shirt. Like basic skills. I took all these electives, which brought my grade down, but I did learn those skills. So I feel you, Rob.
I've got to say, as an Asian kid who grew up in a white community, what I learned was no one's going to help you with a damn thing. So if you're going to survive in this world, you got to learn to do it yourself.
True.
And that's what I did. That's my parents did. You know, they taught us as much as they could, but ultimately it was, if you want to move out of the house, go get yourself a job. Go earn yourself enough money to be able to pay rent. Go, you know, you're going to start paying your insurance now, your car insurance. You know, this idea of government assistance, it was just foreign to me because we were just a family that said, no, we do this on our own. We figure things out. And you're not the only person you can rely on is yourself.
That used to be the American spirit. That used to be what it was.
One of the quotes that actually, you know, way back in the day kind of held to me through my 20s was the first rule of leadership: everything is your fault. Mm-hmm. You know where that's from? It's from
Probably
a bug's
military,
life.
But
it's from a bug's life.
A bug's life?
It's from a bug's life. The first rule of leadership: everything is your fault. And that kind of brought it home for me because it's like, okay, if there's a problem in my life, whether, you know, it's, you know, somebody else's fault or whatever, it doesn't really matter. I got to fix it. It's going to hit me. Okay. If I got an issue that I need to take care of, that I need to resolve, ultimately, I'm going to be the person that fixes that problem. All right. So I just learned, all right, solve your own problems. Quit waiting for somebody to tell you how to fix the problem. Go and find the answer. All right. You got a problem. Don't wait around for somebody to say, oh, you got to do this and this. No. Let me go and find the answer to my problem, which is why in this particular day and age where, you know, you can go to a YouTube video or you have the entire internet at your disposal to pretty much solve any problems you want, or at least get enough information to kind of guide you. Like, there's really no excuse for people to not know things. Everybody, like they say, like I think 95% of 18-year-olds have a smartphone. So, I mean, you have access to the internet, you have access to YouTube, you have access to anything you need. You can go and find the answers for yourself. You don't need to wait. And yeah, you might need some guidance along the way, but it's the impetus of taking action that really slows people down, which is why I cannot stand the victimhood narrative. That's the worst thing in the world. You are not a victim except for yourself, you know, and yeah, if you may not have had all of the right people in your life to kind of guide you. All right. But once you recognize there's a problem, you got to take action. It's on you. It's not on anybody else. It's not on the government. It's not on your community. It's not on these DEI experts. It's not on none of these idiots. All right. It's on you. Yeah.
Even if something bad to do. Even if something bad happens to you, you're not a victim unless you choose to be. Victimhood is a mentality. Bad things happen to good people. It's how you deal with it that matters. Yes. Bad things happen to me. I was not a victim. Yeah. It's just how you deal with it.
And if we had more of that type of teaching, I think the world would be a lot
better. The problem is we're talking about the solution here. They don't want to hear the solution. Like I said, they're making too much money for there to be a solution.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. There's too much money involved in racism for it to stop.
Yeah.
And all the arguments lead to it can't be solved. It cannot be solved.
Right.
It's inherent. It's invisible. I kind of feel like when you see people's worldview, and you notice this on social media in particular, if you look for racism, you will find it 100% of the time, which is all these ridiculous articles like traffic lights are racist. Being on time at work is racist.
The turn sign wasn't that racist or homophobic or something?
Yeah, it's like if you look for those things, you will always find those things.
Don't forget math is racist too.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Math
now.
is racist.
Being on time.
I
Yeah, all
really
of it.
think a lot of this stuff, like this, the whole college mentality, which has led to a lot of this, it was around when I was in college 100 years ago. Well, actually in the 80s. But I was in college in the 80s, and there were a fringe group of people that just were like, they were literally the Communist Party.
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a club
Right.
at
We
Wayne
were the
State
fringe
University in Michigan in the 80s when I went to college. And it was like, those guys are crazy, whatever. And they'd come out with some of these insane views, and they get beat down by the real world where you must be accountable and show results. When you do a job, you have to show results. So now that attitude has seeped, starting with what's the college you talk about all the time?
Evergreen.
That's it.
College.
Rob
Yeah.
talks about it.
I'm an Evergreen alum.
Yes,
oh, well,
I know.
then, yes, Eric Weinstein talks about all the time. Yeah, him and his wife, Heather.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was Brett Weinstein, Eric's
Brett,
brother.
sorry, Eric.
But
It was
no,
a breaking
I have to
point,
tell
too.
you what happened at Evergreen I went to Evergreen because the Evergreen State College is a state college in Washington State that I called a crunchy, chewy granola school when I went there. It was founded in '67. There were 3,000 students when I went, and there was like 10 students to a professor. They had an incredible film program. They had all these amazing facilities, but it was known as this fringy, hippy-dippy school. And indeed it was. However, the whole school prided itself. There were no grades. It was kind of like Santa Cruz's sister school. And you were evaluated instead of getting grades by the work you did. So if you didn't show up to class, you weren't it was very much about self-starting and being independent. There was a student, and this is in 85, 86, 87, 88. There was a student takeover in 2017. And I looked at all these students and I'm like, it was the most unrecognizable thing in the world, because what had shifted. And if you watch the story there's a lot of people that did YouTube videos about the Evergreen student takeover. The whole point about Evergreen was it was about being a self-starter. You could even, you could design your own curriculum. My college roommate designed a course where he went to Europe and did a photographic examination of church gargoyles all through Europe. And that was what he did for a semester. And his pictures were amazing. He ended up going to work with Wim Wenders. Now he's a movie producer, and he did all this stuff. But it was all about doing that. And in 2017, it was like these students, I was watching infants take over this school, and it was the exact opposite of what it was like when I was there in the mid-'80s. I couldn't believe it. I'm like,
Do you remember why?
Weinstein who did it. Who started it all.
Well, no, I'll tell you exactly what. Yes.
I'm prompting you. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, what happened in the school every year at the school, and it happened when I was there. There was a play that was written in Texas, and it was but about a town in Texas where all the people of color voluntarily removed themselves from the city, the town, for one day, and it was to remind, like, the white people how vital those people actually were. They were all taken for granted, but they removed themselves. And we all recognized how much and how valuable they were to the community. So every year at Evergreen, this was a voluntary thing, and they would remember it based on this play. And they would have, like, I think it was called the Day of Removal or the Day of Absence or something. But in 2017, the faculty in certain groups demanded white people remove themselves from the school. So that's not what the play is about. The play is about removing themselves to prove how valuable they are. But then all of these groups said, no, this year we're demanding that you white people prove your allyship by leaving school. That's a very different message than that is a fascist. You're telling people how they should be. If you're not an ally, you prove your allyship. That is the antithesis and the exact opposite of what this day was supposed to be. And Brett Weinstein, who is an evolutionary biologist, a very, very storied professor that was very beloved, said, this isn't exactly what this is supposed to be, and pushed back against it and said, I'm not leaving. I don't agree with this. And he was besieged. His class was besieged. The dean of the school was taken. There was a huge uprising.
Yeah,
because
they shut the school down.
Yeah, they shut
Kids
school
with
down.
bicycle locks and baseball bats. Like, it's not like they were just going to yell at him and say mean things. There was
No,
literally a mob
they
of-
took the dean hostage.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it was a total student uprising. And these kids, I mean, I'm looking at these kids. If I had been on campus, and if the people that were on campus when I was there, we would have gone and busted all those kids' heads. We would have been like, you fascist Nazi kids, get the fuck out of our college. It was the antithesis of what Evergreen was. And it was terrifying to watch because those kids thought they were all full of piss and vinegar and thought they were in the right. They weren't in the right. They're going after teachers, administrators, police, because they want I want what I want. No, the whole point of Evergreen is you got to step up and be an individual and make it happen for yourself. That's what the school is about. And what I was watching was an infant temper tantrum of epic proportions.
So all those kids graduated and then got jobs at every single movie studio, video game company, comic company, and everything else. The real world bent over and said, okay. And that's what we've been dealing with for the past decade plus.
That was a mistake. These are children in adult-sized bodies that have no experience. This is where the term, have you heard this, Rob? This one, reverse mentorship, where someone who like is younger, really doesn't have much experience, mentors older people. I mean, sure, tell me about the latest TikTok, whatever. But I found the concept so strange. Getting back to the movie, there's a website in the movie, Do the Work Workshop. And here it is. It's an actual site.
This is unbelievable.
So it actually exists. By the way, there's merch for the Am I Racist movie. You can buy an Am I Racist board game they're selling.
Oh.
And here it says, hello, colonizer.
Before
we begin, embrace your woeful ignorance and take a moment to acknowledge whose land you illegally possess. And then here we go. Here's the one I wanted to show. Is this rating system? How racist are you? So on a scale of, well, it says black people cannot be racist. It says that right at the bottom. On a scale of zero to hooded figure, where do you stand on that scale?
Yeah, Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah, it's
wow.
I don't know
Wow.
Man, that is Rachel. To Lincoln is a 5 or a 6. Lincoln to Trump 8 or 9, and then you're full 10. So
who's the black guy? Is that Michael B. Jordan?
I don't know. Who is that?
From Black Panther?
I feel sad because I don't see myself in this chart here.
I'm a solid 8.5, maybe 9 on a good day, but I think 8.5.
Anyways, so here it is. They have a Do the Work at Home. It's the board game. There's an no, this is real.
But it's not a grift, Chris. It's not a grift at all.
Yeah, I
the button says buy now, and the button said buy now, and then there's an asterisk that says to start reparations.
Right. So this is merch for the movie is real.
Great.
This is crazy. So here it is. The Am I Racist? The game.
I might buy the game to play it on stream.
This kind of looks hilarious to me. I cannot believe it's real. So good on Matt for doing all this stuff. Very clever marketing. I think it's very clever. So
I've been kind of critical of like the Daily Wire and their take on making movies and stuff, because I think
as you should be, by the way.
I think sometimes people get the idea, and listen, this is coming from somebody is still very new to independent filmmaking. I just directed like my first short film like a year ago. I'm very new to all of this, but I've been passionate about movies for a long time. I think a lot of people think, okay, well, I have the money to do it, so let me go out to here and make a difference without actually respecting the craft or the work that goes into it, or why something is good or why something is bad. I know they've taken their time, or they're taking a crack at actually doing movies and fictional films and adaptations, and they're doing Snow White, which I think is a huge mistake. This is where the Daily Wire's strength exists. They found a thing that works. They actually set out to make something that was funny, that was high quality, that actually addressed an issue, which is what to me is them. This is them playing to their strength, and this is them actually doing something that is going to increase and elevate their brand versus like making a crappy movie that has a massive budget because they think, well, we got to do something to counteract Hollywood. It's like, I do think there needs to be other people that are doing things outside of the Hollywood sphere, but the reality is, like, this is something that you're good at. Matt Walsh is good at this, and he's thriving at this thing, and I think that's kind of awesome to see that play out. And I thought them putting this in theaters was a really good call,
and it did pretty well.
And it did well, and it was a good gamble. It's like, now I hope they can learn the lesson that, okay, let's play to our strengths, but also let's realize that if we're gonna make movies or we're gonna make things, we need to actually know what we're doing and put our best foot forward and put the work into it to know why something works or why something doesn't, instead of just assuming everybody's going to buy it because it has the Daily Wire stamp on it or because it's not woke.
Because it's owning them like lady ballers.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I do take the Daily Wire with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't trust Matt Walsh talking about anime.
Yes,
or video
100%.
games,
Star Wars, or video games.
No.
He's kind of out of touch when it comes to that.
We have a clip of him
100%.
saying
Kind
anime
of.
has
they're
sadistic
very out of
undertones.
touch. And whenever they talk about it, the take is so like, look, stay in your lane, right? Stay in your lane. And what they've done with this movie is take a very serious topic and made it really funny. And it's the best. Satire is the best way to mock something that is insane like this, and it's a much easier discussion to have because I feel like we're more united when we're laughing in a theater. And we were in a theater with not that many people, and there was just belly laughs across. It was like, I don't know, maybe 20 people that first screening, but man, it got a great reaction. So and
to his credit, What Is a Woman was good too.
Oh, it's really good.
More serious topic for sure in terms of what but the same thing, but there's a grift going on. So, and that was Dante, you did the review on Film Threat. So we're not shying. And by the way, we see a lot of documentaries. We review a lot. And I'll say this, you can tell what the agenda was or where the funding came from based on the conclusion the doc tells you to have.
Yeah.
I never felt like this doc was saying you have to think this way. I can think for myself.
Yes.
I could see no documentary is going to change my mind, but I want to show me the evidence and then let the truth go wherever it goes. But we see so many docs these days that just the conclusion is there from the financiers. So many compromised docs. Where are the documentaries where it's like Morgan Spurlock, who's RIP, shout out to him. He like would take a topic and research, about fast food. Like, where does it go? I'll talk to doctors. I'll talk to lots of different people. Like, let's see what, see where the evidence takes us. And I miss that kind of doc. So a little truth, a little comedy can help a lot. So we will get to super chats. I please be patient. We will get to them, but I do need to let everyone know that we have a sale. What a segue. We're having a sale at the Film Threat shop. It is a flash sale for all of our new shirts, the Drinker's Choice collection here of shirts. We've got one inspired by the Warriors.
Yeah,
and
that's cool.
Crow.
Nice.
I like
Get
that.
retro. Other shirts for Halloween. Even we've got some pint glasses and drink glasses there. So go to shop.filmthreat.com. This sale ends today, actually. 15% off using offer code FTFlash15. FTFlash15 is the code in this link in the description. Check it out. So, and lots of cool stuff. All right. Next thing, and we will get to supers, and I want to discuss a lot of remakes these days. Lots of remakes. And there is one in the works now. Not sure if you're aware. Roland Emmerich is going to remake Lawrence of Arabia as a television series.
Why?
I'm trying to find the link here. It's from Heat Vision, the blog.
So it won't be shorter.
Roland Emmerich.
Yeah, the Roland Emmerich from the Heat Vision blog for the Hollywood Reporter. Here it is. He's ready to shop Lawrence of Arabia to turn it into a series, a streaming series. Can you read that, Badger? Just give us the first.
Yeah, filmmaker long dream of playing in the world of the classic 1962 film starring Peter O'Toole, and in the coming weeks, he and Bohemian Rhapsody writer Anthony McCartan will take it out to potential partners. So they're shopping this around. The duo envisioned this as a 3-season prestige series, saying that they hope to write the entire first season. McCartan, rather. Emmerich calls it In Arabia rather than Of Arabia, because as he says, it has a little bit more characters than the original movie. Even as Emmerich prepares to that, he's dreaming up 2 seasons of Those About to Die, the Gladiator. So in addition to that, he's also still got further seasons coming from About to Die. Yeah, 3-season prestige series.
I really wish that Dune had gotten that. I think what we got with Dune, I look, I love what Villeneuve did. Can't wait for 3. But Dune as a book could have used like 2 or 3 seasons to tell that whole story.
Can I interest you in a Bene Gesserit prequel instead? Because that's about what you're getting, unfortunately.
I guess. But I queued this up because there's a video I want to show all of us, and we can react to it. It is from it's from this kid put together wait, where's the link? I had the link. Oh, it's from Instagram. Just a kid who did this thing, and he put together a little funny 1-minute video that kind of illustrates something. Well, here, I'm just going to go right from here to this. So if you could, here we go. It's going to,
that's not it.
I'm chewing it up because it will start immediately, the video. So here we go.
Am I racist?
Or anything actually new? Yeah, Dune, that's a sequel. Okay, how about Furiosa? That's a prequel. Godzilla, sequel. Quiet Place, prequel. How about Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead? That's a remake. Garfield, remake. Twisters, remake. Roadhouse, remake. Okay, what about the new Beverly Hills Cop? If you have to say new, it's not new. Beetlejuice, sequel. Deadpool and Wolverine, been there and done that. Bad Boys, Ride or Die. I'd rather die. Mean Girls, mean to make that. Planet of the Apes, I don't know what it is, but it's not new. Joker 2, Gladiator 2, Moana 2, sequel. Sonic 3, Venom 3, sequel. Kung Fu Panda 4, Despicable Me 4, sequel. They're all damn sequels. Woody Woodpecker Goes to Camp. Wait, that's a movie that came out this year. Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's see that. Oh, wait, it's a sequel. Are you kidding me?
So I say this because the point is, they say like Gen Z is turned off of movies. Maybe this is why.
We failed them.
Maybe this is why. What are your guys' thoughts on that video? And just, I mean, it makes its point in a very funny way. And this is why so many like kids, they say, are not jazzed about movies. Where are their franchises?
Chris?
Yeah, I've been saying this for a long time, man.
Yes.
You have to give people their own thing. Like, this is something for you. It's not playing off of something that came in the 80s or 90s. No, this is for your generation. It's specifically for you. It was something created whole cloth, brand new. It's creative. It's new. It's never been done before. It's never been seen before. That's what we got in the 80s, guys. If you go back to, like, I always go right to 1984 because that's my favorite year in film, where you had, I think out of the top 10 films, 8 of the top 10 films in 1984 were brand new movies. You know, you had obviously Ghostbusters and Gremlins. You even had Police Academy, brand new series. All right. Beverly Hills Cop, brand new series. You had new things. You didn't just constantly recycle and reboot. There was, I think, Star Trek 3 was a sequel that year. And then Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was a sequel that year. But everything else in the top 10 was brand new. And plus you still had things like Terminator. You know, like they actually launched franchises back then. They started new things and those, you know, persevered through the years. And like, where are the young kids getting that from today? You know where they're getting it from? They're getting it from anime. That's why they're flocking to anime, because anime is brand new. Anime is different. Every story has, it's a little twist on a similar theme, but mostly new material. And that's why so many young people are going towards anime, in my opinion, is because it's new, it's fresh, it's different. It's not the same old. So yeah, I've been talking about this for a long time, that they got to get back to making original content, brand new ideas. And I know those ideas exist out there in Hollywood, but for whatever reason, Hollywood plays it safe. They don't want to take any risks. And so we just keep getting, sequels over and over and over. And it's getting kind of stale.
Let me give you that list from 1984. Ghostbusters, Terminator, Beverly Hills Cop, The Karate Kid, Amadeus, Nightmare on Elm Street, Gremlins, Neverending Story, and The Spinal Tap. The only sequel was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Wow.
Yeah.
The best one,
that's awesome,
obviously.
man. Imagine if that was 2024. That's 40 years ago. So in 40 years, now every top movie this year is more than likely a sequel. Or a spinoff, or a remake, or a reboot, or something to that effect. We're not getting new original content. And that's the reason why I think Hollywood is, failing, because they're not inviting a new audience into the theaters to enjoy something new and different and unique. That's one of the major problems.
I think what you just said is a very, very salient point. And another thing, when, Chris and I sort of came of age as movie fans in the 80s, movies gave us ideas and things that resonated with us. If you think about youth movies in the 80s, you had everything starting out with movies like Matt Dillon and Over the Edge. You had the S.E. Hinton adaptations, Rumblefish and The Outsiders from Coppola. You had movies like Repo Man or Suburbia that looked at the punk scene. You had movies like Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains with Diane Lane, in a punk band. All the John Hughes movies. So movies, in a way, were speaking to the youth audience as youth-oriented films. And at the same time, you did have Amadeus. You did have all these things. And we would go to these movies and they would speak to us on many different levels. Watching Bauhaus come out at the beginning of Tony Scott's The Hunger, singing Bela Lugosi's Dead. And, you had the music and movies dovetailing together, pop culture, fashion. People wanted to dress as Ducky when they saw Pretty in Pink, or they wanted to dress as Molly Ringwald's character. Then you had people like Madonna coming out, and changing the face of fashion. And it was all part of culture, but movies spoke to us. They had something new to say, and we would come out of these movies and ponder them. I remember going to see Pink Floyd The Wall, in 82, Alan Parker's Pink Floyd The Wall. And I listened to the record and I got it. But when I saw the film, it was a whole new level. And I'm like, oh my God, that movie, even though it had nothing to say to me directly, it still resonated with me. And now kids aren't getting anything new. They're getting everything as a regurgitation. And how are movies supposed to resonate with kids if TikTok and YouTube and user-generated content, that's where kids are looking to find things they relate to. And like you said very astutely, anime coming from a different civilization entirely, a different coming from Japan that has a whole different system than we do. And it's unique and it's new, and people are finding new ways of looking at the world through anime. We're giving them none of that.
You failed to mention people also wanted to dress as Long Duck Dong. Just want to make sure you don't forget.
Donger needs food.
Long Duck Dong. You can't forget Long Duck Dong. No, just watching that Instagram post, which is, I thought, very funny. It's just, that's all you need to see. That's the industry now. I mean, how anything leaks out that's normal, I'm shocked. But I am confident to say later this week, we will talk about a film, The Substance, which I have seen.
Oh, dude, I can't wait.
I'm seeing it again. This movie, this is just a preview. This is one of the best films of the year. Demi Moore is amazing in it. In a just world, she'll be nominated for Best Actress. Amazing film. Rob lives up to everything and goes beyond. Also, by the way, people are going to walk out of this movie. There are levels of shock in the third act that go far. When you think they're going to go there, they go further. Woman director who, there's an interview. If you're a member of Film Thread, I shot the video of the interview post screening with her, which was at the Aero Theater for American Cinematheque. So I have the whole thing, 30 minutes. She's amazing. Her film Revenge.
Dude, it came out from Second Sight. I have it. It's so good.
Oh, okay. It's on Shudder. I was looking for it. I remember it and I missed it. So I have not seen it. Watched the trailer. Looks this film. So the substance, very little dialogue. But it's so, and I will say this, I'm going to warn, this warning is mostly for Alan. There is so much nudity in this full frontal.
That's what I was going to ask. Is there booba?
A shocking level. And there's even like, it's also very funny. It's so funny. But I am really curious how audiences, because this was a screening at American Cinematheque. People know what they're in for. It was part of Beyond Fest, whatever. In a mainstream theater to show this movie, Universal Pictures initially funded, it was going to put this movie out. They got to look at it. No freaking way. They backed away. I mean,
even the trailer's pretty crazy, man. I mean, the trailer looks crazy to Megalopolis. I mean,
it shows you nothing. The trailer gives nothing away. The little setup, and that's it. This film is so incredible. I can't praise it enough. I'll do an actual review later. I just want to encourage people. Wednesday, there's a screening, and then it's out this weekend. You got to see it. As a horror film, might be one of the, in terms of horror, best thing I have seen in a decade.
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Dude, Rob, whatever you think, it's better. It's better.
I was tweeting about this today. It's my most eagerly awaited movie for the rest of the year.
Like, I don't want to say anything about it. I don't want to ruin anyone's experience. It just goes, and Demi Moore, kudos to her, and Dennis Quaid too. He's in it. It's a bit part, but he's in it. Demi
Moore. Off of that, I've seen the first episode of Agatha all along.
Oh no, is there news?
Oh yes, we'll be talking about it on Wednesday. The first 4 episodes of Agatha, we're gonna see. We'll talk about Wednesday. Alan, give us a preview.
Yeah. Wait. There it is.
Can you do that again? Can you do that again?
Yeah.
Oh man!
You know what though? It's been a good year for Disney. They could afford a few L's right now.
Yeah, they need to offset some of that money they made with Inside Out 2 and Deadpool.
And Aliens. Aliens did well for them.
Yeah.
They got money.
Well, and Planet of the Apes too. So.
Oh boy,
they had a good year.
Yeah, they need to lower that profit margin a bit. Yeah, but
well, I'm surprised they're not dumping the whole thing. We got the 4 episodes, right? So
yeah,
that's what I don't get.
What they're doing is they want to end on the Wednesday before Halloween. So that's why they're doing what they're doing.
We did hear, Chris. We did hear from somebody who knows that Agatha was good, so I was really excited about it when we were at Comic-Con.
Well, that first episode is not.
Yeah, good. Chris, we did. Remember, we were. Having
right. I don't believe that.
Our mutual friend said it was very good.
A reliable person, by the way, who's usually reliable.
Did that person also say Echo was the most brutal thing that you've ever seen in Marvel?
Oh no, he trashed it. He trashes most of the things.
I'm just trying to see where
he does.
Okay.
Well,
like I said, I've only seen the first episodes.
Right.
Okay. Well, to this, Rob, I watch your late night rants, and I love your late night shows.
Thank you.
You get it's like Rob After Dark. And
yeah, I did. I didn't think a lot of people would watch it, but I wanted to talk about it anyway. About
well, look, it's great. So on this whole, like, I just want to to put a button in this, and we'll go to supers. The everything is a remake and sequel is just there is with something fresh. I mean, look, the Matt Walsh movie, not a sequel. I mean, kind of maybe a sister movie, to his other movie, but that was not released theatrically. So I think people are looking for fresh and new. By the way, the movie Speak No Evil, I don't know if you've seen that. It's actually very good. But that's a remake of a Danish film from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
My Old Ass is a good original film.
Well, like, I don't know.
I thought you were talking about your old
donkey.
I was going to say what? It's one of those things, like, I think a lot of people don't even have original ideas anymore. It's every time I read another interview about some remake or a show thing that somebody had, it's always compared to something that's come before it and wanting to remake that or redo that or do their own version of that. Oh, I've always wanted to make The Godfather, so here's my version of The Godfather and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with being inspired by that stuff. You need to watch good cinema and bad cinema to learn how to make good movies and stuff. But I just feel like there's such a lack of originality, because I just think that we live in a time that stifles creativity in the first place. And the reality is, like, with the exception of maybe me growing up and my experience as a kid, there aren't really, after my generation, there aren't really any experiences that would make interesting movies. It's like a bunch of kids sitting inside on computers talking
Right.
on social media and stuff. And that's kind of a hard way to make a film. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but like, I think gone are the days of like, oh man, me and my buddies jumped in, like the one friend that had a car's car and drove to Texas with like no money in our pockets and did like a crazy thing. Or, oh man, we got this money together to go to a concert that we, scraped together enough money to go to a concert and do this thing because things are so expensive now and things are, difficult to
Mike,
do.
I gotta disagree with you, man. I think those experiences are still being had. They're still being had. It's just
I think they are, but
the studios don't
rare.
see any profit in those things.
Yeah,
so.
well, what it is it's the $100 million movie. It's the $200 million.
Right.
Movie.
Yeah.
That's the
They're
problem.
not going to invest that kind of money into something that they can't guarantee they'll get a return on, and so they won't risk going to original content in order to do that. They're gonna do sequels. They're gonna do something based on some IP that already exists.
By the way,
but I just feel like it's rare. I think it's like a rare experience now. I mean, I got those experiences when I was a kid, but that's the thing too. Like those people somebody has to have that experience and then grow up and want to make movies that aren't just remaking The Godfather or being handed another Marvel film that's like, hey, here's Agatha, go make Agatha, make sure that it checks these boxes, and stuff. That's the unfortunate side of it. But also at the same time, there are like a pocket of young, hungry filmmakers that are out there that are trying really hard to make something that means something to them.
Like me and Chris saw Kevin Smith's new film last week, the 4:30 movie, and it's a simple story, man, about a kid who loves movies, who is excited about his date with this girl, and it's a very slice of life kind of movie. Not Kevin Smith's best film, but a very, I would almost say, wholesome film about a kid just excited to go on a date with this girl. And I don't know, man. I think you're right, though. I mean, Alan's right. The studios aren't going to get big money for that. They're not going to fund these kind of films because I'm sure that movie, Kevin Smith probably spent maybe 80 mil, maybe less than 80 mil. I don't know.
Well, it also comes down to your audiences. Like, our audiences looking for films like that, and will audiences go to that? We've kind of been conditioned to go to the big sequels, like everything. Like, I just looked it up. Like, the top 10 films this year, all sequels. Every last one of them is a sequel or a remake of some sort. So everybody's kind of conditioned to not, I guess, go out to do different things. They're just kind of saying, I'm gonna go watch the sequel to, Kung Fu Panda or Bad Boys or Godzilla Kong or whatever. Like, these are all the big movies that everybody's going to watch. So, has Hollywood kind of created this by not making new things and trying to focusing everything on the sequel or the remake or the reboot? Maybe they've conditioned everybody to just focus on those films, and that's where they put all their marketing money, and that's where they put all of their energy, instead of, creating something like Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I thought was phenomenal.
They painted themselves into a corner with that, though, because now they have to drop at least $200 million every single time, right? Just to make big money, just to make the money back.
Well, yeah, that's it. They're looking for the jackpots. They're not looking for movies that will earn money over time. They want movies that will earn money quickly.
Well, cinema used to be the great collision between art and commerce, because movies on the studio level didn't cost that much. The director, and I can't pronounce her last name correctly, Coralie Ferget, I'm not sure, but she, if you read about her background, is a consummate artist. She went to multiple film schools in Paris. She started out making short films. The Substance is only her second movie. Like all of our great filmmakers that we love, they were all artists. If you think about all the great filmmakers, whether it was George Lucas starting out doing THX 113 and then American Graffiti, or take your pick. Coppola going out and doing his, his early films. All of the great filmmakers that we admired were artists first. And movies, of course, are expensive. You need capital to make them. But the people that got into filmmaking were artists. So you would get genuine visions, and they were people that worked their way up. Now we have the gatekeepers at the studios, corporations, and by very definition, looking down. They're making only a product. They're starting out making a product, and a successful product, but we're not creating a new breed of artistic filmmakers. You're literally, these are journeyman people that are actually making a studio product to be sold. The problem is there's no vision behind them. I mean, when I say that, the substance has a very interesting way, from what I understand, at looking at a real issue in women's lives. So they use body horror and satire and all these things to comment on something very real, like all great artists do.
Look, the beauty industry. So this is this was at the American Cinematheque.
All the way from France. She was in New York. She traveled from New York to be with us tonight. Please give it up, because we are in the company of a great, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the beautiful people of Los Angeles. Carly Forget.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Definitely want to be careful pronouncing that last name.
Ooh, nice ad.
Standing ovation.
They loved it.
The reaction from the crowd was insane. So, yeah, I mean, you can look that up. Members, check that out after you've seen the film. But I cannot wait for you all to see it. I'm kind of going crazy because I don't know anyone who's seen the movie. So I can't talk to anybody. I have been thinking about that film since I saw it on Friday. I cannot stop thinking about it. I'm so disturbed. I remember when I'd see Cronenberg's early movies. You can't, it worms your way into your head.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's so beyond. So
do you think, Chris, do you think there's any chance that we're going to get a different version of the one you saw? Like, are they going to try to tone it down?
I don't think so. Think so. Well, I'm going on Thursday at the AMC Burbank 16. There are only a couple seats left. Now, they will add screenings if they notice that certain movies are getting a lot of play. They will, change it up. So they might add a screen, but
I would love to see. I got to go down and see. I want to see it with
you
you guys.
You have got to go Thursday, I think 7:20 show. So whatever. Anyways, all right, we got to get this.
I'm just gonna say, the last time you said that to me, it was The Coffee Table, and it was the worst movie I've ever seen.
No, okay. Before we get to soups, I want to go remind you of one thing, and we will put the link in the description. I am a backer of this campaign from Imagination Connoisseurs Unlimited True Noir campaign. Here it is, and successfully backed 50,000 from 550 backers. Congrats, Rob. That's awesome. And I guess you can still contribute.
Yeah, it's still open. So for people, this is a 10-chapter audio drama that is being approached. We're approaching it as if we're making a movie, but you just can't see it. And it has people like David Strathairn. It has Michael Rosenbaum as our lead. Katie Sackhoff is in it. Bill Sadler is in it. C. Thomas Howell is in it. Louis Lombardi, Big Pussy Bumpin' Sarah from The Sopranos. Vincent Pastore is in it. It is a cornucopia of great character actors that have been in a million different things, but it was written by Road to Perdition writer Max Allan Collins based on his novel True Detective. Awesome. And it is very much a noir story in kind of like Chinatown, and it's set in 1932 and 33 Chicago. And Jeffrey Combs, Dr. Herbert West from Reanimator, plays the mayor of Chicago, Anton Cermak, who really was assassinated. And he might have been assassinated because he tried to kill Frank Nitti or other reasons. Franklin Delano Roosevelt is being played by Barry Bostwick from Rocky Horror and from Megaforce and from Fantastic Planet and also Spin City. But it's for me, of all the things I've been involved with, it is the purest. It's the one thing I've made that I have had complete creative control over. So
awesome.
For the first time, I've been able to make it. It has 5 hours of original music. You can go to my channel on the Burnett Work and hear a 15-minute EP of tracks. The music is incredible. It's got an original score that sounds like Jerry Goldsmith. And I'm really proud of it. And we're going to debut the first 2 episodes. You can go pre-buy it in whatever form you want. You can get physical media. You can get the digital downloads. You can get a soundtrack album. You can get a book of the script if you want it. The script is great. It's over 300 pages. And I've been working on it for the last 4 months.
Awesome. Rob, you mentioned doing a live event. I recommend doing a listening party of the first couple episodes or something.
That's
where the
what
lights are almost completely off. You've got
Yeah.
a very intimate environment,
That's what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to rent out a movie theater. I think I'm going to do that in LA, and maybe in New York, because we're going to be at New York Comic Con doing a panel. And Michael Rosenbaum is terrific. It's funny.
Awesome.
He's terrific as the lead actor, and you have to like noir and crime thrillers and period stuff, but it's Chris Carr, who I met working on the John Campea show. She is a voice actress, and I always wanted to do stuff with her because she was really talented. So I brought her on to play the female lead on this with all these other actors. I was like, I don't know, man, was that a mistake? She kills it. She's so good as the love interest. I was so excited once I started hearing her work. I mean, and just the voices all together, because I'm editing it myself too. I'm so excited about this, and I know it's only an audio drama, and people are like, yeah, whatever.
No,
but
dramas are rad.
If you hear it, it's done like a movie. So most people have pretty good audio systems in their cars now. So it's not like a book on tape. It's not like the kind of audio dramas It's very fast. I'm going for a Coen Brothers Chinatown feel. No Country for Old Men meets Miller's Crossing meets.
That's awesome, dude. Well, dude,
Cool.
as
Keep us
somebody that
informed.
grew up
Keep us
on
informed.
Michael Rosenbaum as the Flash and like a lot of his like voice acting, he is phenomenal. And
He's
so is
so
Jeffrey
good.
Combs.
He's blown me away. I'm
Yeah,
recording
those
more
guys
with him on Wednesday.
Those guys are phenomenal. Jeffrey Combs, I'm a huge fan of Jeffrey Combs' voice work, and yeah, dude, these guys are rad. I was so excited to hear the cast for this, man. I'm
It's the cat. It's just it's incredible. And Patton Oswalt's recording this week,
nice.
and just finishing up. So yeah.
Let's go to Super's questions and comments for you guys, and there's a lot of them. So Badger, I hope you're ready. Here we go.
Always am. Nick Brown for $4.99. Is anyone on the panel ready to start doing the work? Just got my DEI certification.
Oh my God. Yeah, we'll do the work. Thank you, Nick.
Atomic Patriot for $2. Yo, Mike, why did you rank Madam Web S tier? Wow.
That's
Did that happen?
not a thing.
There you go. That's not a
Listen,
thing.
okay, we have a tier list that we do, and we are very corrupt, and we take money to move things up and down tier lists. And Atomic Patriot spent a ridiculous amount of money to get Madam Web at S tier, and there it sits. So we buried that list real deep.
I too live by the money please principle. Yes. Red French Moon for $5. It is a cultural war, and they are mercenary, and of course they are paid, and a lot, because they often sell false truth or half facts.
Thanks, Red French Moon. Appreciate that.
Jonas J. Campbell for 10. Well,
Hey, Jonas.
is you ain't a racist.
That's pretty good.
I think we is.
We is. I
Thanks,
was an
Jonas.
8.5. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Low level enforcer for 2. Showtimes for Am I a Racist are not linked in IMDb.
Yeah, it's weird. The sort of little ways they kind of try to sabotage the film, but people want to see it.
Don't they understand though? The harder you try to stop people from seeing something, the more they want to see it. Like they're helping. They're helping the film.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Torgo the White for 2. Chris, what am I? Chopped liver? Gore.
That's my new middle name. I get no respect.
Fredo
No
Gore
respect.
and Chris Dangerfield were in the chat. Boogers Taste Salty for 5. I think Jeremy gets praised because it's slightly surprising he'd do it. Film Threat has always reviewed everything. We all know you will. So here's a super chat.
Thank you, boogers taste salty for 5. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Do they though? Do they?
Drink more water, boogers. Balawan 1018 for 2. Chris Gore confirmed not MSM, but Frank Gore is.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Blawan.
James Ricuti, aka Gen X Fed for $9.99. Chris, you are the king of Gen X. Film Thread is the real deal. You were reviewing films and in the punk scene when the others were all boring ass normies. To hell with Matt Walsh.
Thanks, James. James is he's sent me little gifts here and there. He is awesome. Thank you, James. Appreciate you.
Excel's Abode, member for 1 month. How will the Will and Harper Netflix doc do?
I don't know, but I just got a preview link for it. I think Alan has it as well. Should we review that movie? I'm asking.
Well, I mean, we review everything. I mean,
I'm asking the chat. Will and Harper. That's the Will Ferrell documentary. He goes on a cross-country trip,
road trip with
his friend, who's now a trans woman.
You should probably review that.
It's supposed to be funny. So if the chat wants us to review it, we will.
I don't know. It looks pretty good. So I don't know.
Yeah.
He says he wouldn't play a lot of the things he played in the past based on his current experiences.
Yeah.
Vagabundo Devon, hail, bro.
Hail,
4 months.
Hail, Devon. See you at. I just bought my Dragon Con tickets for next year. I'll see you there.
Mr. Tickle Trunk for 5. Glad Chris and R&B are on screen together now. No more rumors they're the same person anymore, please.
Let's put that to rest.
Hey, that could be AI, man.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you. Hey, Jonas is back.
Yeah, Jonas J. Campbell for 5. Just a super chat to tell R&B I bought even more Star Trek Blu-rays. Thanks for your hard work.
I'm
By
glad
the way,
you enjoy
not
those
the new Star Trek crap. Don't worry, Rob. It was the original.
Yeah, no, thank you. We worked hard on those documentaries.
Big Boned for 10. It's a compliment they don't mention you for these types of reviews. Everyone knows you are an OG movie review gangsta and ain't surprised you have the balls to review the shit others won't touch. Yeah, 100%. You don't want to be associated with them, Chris.
Yeah, let's see who reviews The Substance. That'll be really interesting. Yeah.
Mexican Iron Man for 10. I saw Am I a Racist movie, and I am super inspired to now launch Mexican Iron Latin X-Man DEI services. For $500 an hour, I will teach each of you why you are racist and a bad person. No checks, CCP. Oh, yeah. You pay him in cash, please.
Thanks, Mexican Iron. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. That's great.
Some people charge between $500 to $5,000. So
yeah.
Gatekeeper for 20. Hail to this cool ass panel. Respect Film Threat, damn it. Keep up the good work, guys. Shout out Gary, Snarky J, Nerd Wars, Wicked Virtue, and blessings to the Epic Angel. Please subscribe to the Words of Paradise. It's your next target, huh? Please subscribe to Words of Paradise and Horror with Ads. Sure, is that
Horror with
Armor
Nads?
Yeah,
that sounds interesting. Thanks, Gatekeeper. Thank you very
By the
much.
way, I wonder if Grace Randolph is going to watch The Substance.
I want her to.
Oh, I'll pay good money to watch that review.
No, I watch her reviews. I watch because I don't know
about that movie.
I watch Campia. I don't know. I haven't seen you, Rob, on Campia's show, but I watched Campia. He did a very good review of Transformers 1. I was surprised.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he liked it.
The Brujo for 20 on R&B's point today. Robert Picardo retweeted John Leguizamo joking about Latino representation on Trek. Picardo claims that Voyager's Roxanne Dawson was the first. The replies are a wall of Ricardo Montalban and several others. Nice. Belana Torres, great character, not the first Latino.
No,
yep, for sure.
But there were no.
Well, of course, to be fair, Khan is Sikh, but Montalban's Mexican.
Right. Yeah. Jay for 10, great show, guys. Happy B-Day R&B. YouTube is blocking the movie I was going to suggest to watch because it covers this topic.
Oh. It's always Rob's birthday.
Graph
every day.
Too. Power of Christ compels you. Hashtag cancel Disney Plus. Naveen for 200 ruby pesos, whatever it is. Greetings from India. Big fan of the show and what you do. And shout out to R&B. Been a fan of his since AMC Collider, Heroes Days, Schnepp, RIP, and a fan of Chris since 2016 and the Hollywood on the Rocks show.
Yeah, Schnepp. I think about him every day, man. He was an inspiration. He didn't give a F about anything. Didn't care. Had his opinion. So miss him a lot.
Albert, not a retro for 5. Men should remove ourselves for one day and see what happens. Oh, wait, nothing would happen. Literally nothing would happen. Well, nothing good.
Albert, too true.
I mean, technically, we don't have a president right now.
We kind of, yeah.
He's on a beach.
Like,
Well, he's on vacation. Yeah.
His body double is
right.
He's on the beach. He's on the beach.
Box office brawler for 199. The 199. I can't stop wearing my film threat shirt. Help me.
Get another one.
Yeah, get another one.
Buy
It's
3.
a sale.
Probably wash that thing.
Yeah.
What was
just
that
get
code
20.
again? FT Flash 15.
Day Tripera, excuse me, remember for 4 months. Growing up, I'm 43. The worst thing was people feeling sorry for you. New people feed off of victimhood, and that's so bizarre to me.
Yeah, same with me. I don't get this. I've even had things happen where I could, be a victim. I don't share it. I don't talk about it. I deal with my own shit. I don't know. There's a weird thing I've noticed where there's some
post something bad about yourself, and then you get all these, hearts and likes and clicks when you.
Victimhood is currency. It's
Exactly.
currency in these days.
Yeah. It's weird. I would be embarrassed and humiliated.
Yeah. 199. Charles Harrison. Just shout
Thanks,
out.
Charles. Appreciate you.
Albert, not a retro for another 5. The black guy is probably George Floyd, who died from a racist drug overdose. Well, I don't know how the overdose was racist, but from a drug overdose that was wrongfully blamed on a cop while everyone ignored Tyree Nichols.
Yeah, I'm like, what does a racist drug overdose look like?
Everyone knows that fentanyl has disparaging views on black people.
Cocaine is white.
Yes.
I was going to say that. I mean,
Red French Moon for 2. Happy birthday, Robert. Just perpetually your birthday.
Yes, it's a joke that started in February that every time I'm surprised how, and I admire everybody who's kept it going because that's amazing.
It'll never stop. People will always be telling Eric July that someone that died 10 years ago just died. Like once a meme starts, it will never end.
It's over. Yep.
Zan Hugh for 742 saw Blazing Saddles in the theater yesterday. So many details that I hadn't appreciated before. Great movie. Yeah, 50th anniversary yesterday.
One of the greatest.
Red French Moon for 2. Hail DA. T is insane. Oh, yeah. T is insane. Sweeney is gorgeous.
Yeah, man. What was up with that? What was up with T, man?
I don't know, man. That guy's on something, man. Yeah, on the show, I think that was on The Office or Nightcap or whatever. T thinks that Sydney Sweeney is plain.
He thinks she's mid.
He thinks she's mid. She thinks he's mid. I'm like, we trying to straighten him out, guys. Don't worry. We trying to straighten him out. But yeah, he's out of control with that one.
I've seen this tactic before. It never works.
Oh, is he nagging? Is that what he's doing? Is he nagging her?
Yeah. Snakes and Funerals for 10. Lawrence of Arabia is the greatest independent film of all time. It can never be surpassed or even matched. May this Emmerich remake project go to production hell and never return.
Was Lawrence of Arabia independent?
I'm not sure. A lot of movies were produced independently and then distributed by big studios. So you have to kind of trace the money. A lot of things are, Rob, this co-productions, money from overseas, money from here. The Substance had money from Universal, but money from France. It was shot in France, all on a set. So you never know with these things. I mean,
so it's
Star
Horizon
Wars.
Pictures, does that make sense?
What's that?
Horizon Pictures. That's an indie company.
Possible. It's but there, that's why movie, titles at the beginning, they're like 3 shell companies of production companies.
So it was actually, it was an independent film. It was actually made by a company called Horizon Pictures. Yes. And that was a film production company founded in the United Kingdom by Austrian-born American film producer Sam Spiegel and John Huston in 1947. The same company produced The African Queen.
Oh,
and so they and it was picked up for distribution by Columbia.
I mean, Star Wars is technically it was indie.
Yeah.
George made it with his company. The money was, Fox, but
which is why it was so tragic when he said amateurs shouldn't be making magic or whatever asinine comment he said. Jonas J. Campbell for 199. I'm sending in this chat at 5:22 Eastern, 2:22 p.m. Yep.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. ETK 1138 for 5. Yep. What Lawrence of Arabia has always needed is the guy that made Moonfall to improve it. Trick William Porter is not minding. It is stupid. Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes. Super Captain Chris for 5. Young people do have their own thing, but they're on YouTube and TikTok. They consume their media differently, and there's nothing wrong with that. I would add that we are their media in a lot of ways that come to us for reviews. And also, we can all recommend all the good things that we used to watch and keep it all alive, and maybe it'll inspire them to make their own things. Like
I also we did say that
Mike
too.
and others.
Yeah.
We did say that in the conversation.
But it would be nice if there were movies that spoke to them, and that's what that Instagram video kind of pointed out, that those things maybe are not so interesting.
Stubble McShave for 20 Swedish krona on sequels and remakes. No one likes hand-me-downs.
That's right.
Hellhound for 9.99. Have you guys reviewed the doc Manhuli on Violence? Manuli on Violence.
Monopoly,
a few years. Yeah, a few years old. I think Eric J might be in it. I can't remember.
Alan, have we reviewed that?
I don't believe we have.
Doc Manuli, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Hellhound.
Manuli on Violence.
Look it up.
Simon Ho for 5. Has anyone noticed Matt Walsh made himself look like John Cusack as Craig Schwartz in the movie Being John Malkovich? This can't be a coincidence.
That's true. He does.
If you watched What Is a Woman, there's one of the people he interviews that he patterned his look after, and it was one of the clips I saw of the movie that he shows that. Yeah,
that's funny. That I see it now. Oh my God! Thank you. That was awesome.
AI sees the Bible. Every Eye Ministries for 2. Let's support original ideas. Cheers, gents. Dyrus for 2. Commodore Jose Mendez, The Menagerie 1 and 2. Yep. Albert Not a Retro for 2. Yeah. Coke is white and it's a hell of a drug.
That's right.
John Orchard for 5. How about a double feature of Am I Racist and Blazing Saddles, compare and contrast? Yeah. When I went yesterday to go see Am I Racist, it was not playing, but the 50th anniversary of Blazing Saddles was. I was like, what?
That would be a great double feature.
I'd buy popcorn bucket, please. Daniel Stenistam, never for 5 months. I just saw the movie Crawl 2019 and it sucked. But at least Barry Pepper was in it, and I haven't seen him since I saw Battlefield Earth 3 times.
Crawl is awesome. I love Crawl. Come on.
Jonas J. Campbell for 199. Respect to the panel. Great conversation.
Thanks, Jonas. Appreciate you.
Albert Not a Retro for 2. A woman is an adult human with 2 X chromosomes.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Spoiler, if you didn't make it all the way through What Is a Woman, that is what they concluded.
Yeah, I love that. All right. So that's going to wrap it up for us today. Odds,
Mike died.
Lord Thoth, and Mexican Iron Man. Thank you to all of our great panelists. There are links to their channels in the description. We'll be back next week. Probably a slightly different panel, different people. Some returning champions.
Are we talking about the substance? Can we talk about the substance?
Yes, we'll talk about it on Monday. But yeah, go see The Substance. That we'll be talking about that on Monday. And I want to thank you, our audience, for joining us. We're kind of a different panel show. So we do this every Monday. Come check it out. Alan, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Yeah.